Hi. Just gonna move this one bag out of the way and I can proceed. Sorry, guys. All right. My wonderful book. We are going to talk about this band. Okay, I'm going to talk about them because I made a promise after making the decision that I was going to do a ranking. The ranking is not happening, but a discussion. Anybody who's ever watched the live streams with Jason and Dan and myself and some of the other fellas, and we've talked about Kiss before, and I've kind of scoffed at them. Oh, I should divulge, by the way, this is a non-alcoholic Irish Red before you guys thinking I'm backing on my drinking again, because I'm not. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic beer, still sober. Now, I showed this last weekend. A lot of people are like, well, it's not bad. I mean, it's a shock that you bought a Kiss record. It's not the greatest of tracks, but there's some good ones on here. And this is actually one of the CDs I used to own years ago. And I did own the Unplugged album on cassette. Now, I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to basically talk to you about Kiss in the way that I've since been able to shut any and all sort of negative connotations off them. So the very first thing, as I said, the very first cassette I ever bought after hearing Rock and Roll All Night was the Unplugged record. And then many months later, I bought this simply because it had Rock and Roll All Night. Shouted out loud. At the time, I was Made for Loving You. And Beth, with Eric Carr vocal, because of course this was done in 1988. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my top 10 Kiss songs. I'm going to talk about some of the songs that I don't like. I've gone through the first album, and I just want to get into depth and sort of explain my whole thought processes on Kiss and why I hated them for so long. So to start off with that, I've always said that Gene was a terrible bass player. I've always said that Paul was just kind of whiny and too self-absorbed. But since I've been following him on Twitter and kind of seeing where he's been, I mean, there's some... The thing about Gene and Paul is that they're the two biggest members of that band. The most influential has always been Ace. And people have sort of misunderstood Peter. I think the thing about the band is that I've always had this sort of thing where every time I turn around, Paul and Gene were opening their mouth and they wouldn't shut them. They were just saying stupid shit. And then I found, like, people were like, oh man, listen to this song. I'm like, yeah, that's garbage. Yeah, that's garbage. Yeah, that's garbage. So after spending a lot of time with, this, I've come to realize there's a lot more to them than the big bombs and all the shows. Let's start off with the songs I don't like, because you're probably going to be like, okay, well, that makes sense. So the songs that I really, really disliked, and I wrote them down, Heaven's on Fire, oh my god, that is dreadful. It's just, this here's the cheese, I find, like the cheese times 10. Lick It Up, the guitar riff's good. Production on that album was pretty good. Paul sounded great, Gene sounded great. I Was Made for Loving You. Good lord, to me it's just terrible. It's just absolutely fucking terrible. Shout It Out Loud, it's kind of meh for me. So there's sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, it's cool. But I just, for whatever reason, I think it's just the intro and these lead lines. It's like, oh man, just not one of my favorites. Tears Are Falling, Jesus, and subsequently it's on this record. Anything off of The Elder and anything off of Hotter Than Hell, those records were just fucking abysmal to me. And people are gonna be like, oh my god, you know, most people on here will agree with The Elder. Hotter Than Hell was just, I don't get it. I never got it. I didn't like it. Even the cover looked terrible. But again, it was also in the 70s, so shit happens. This is just my thought processes here. In terms of what I will say, when Paul would, like, in their heyday, Paul had probably one of the best rock and roll voices out there. Super strong, very powerful, could hold notes for days. And he proved that even on the Unplugged album. Like, I watched the concert last night for a little bit. It was just phenomenal, the amount of power in that guy's range. I mean, over the last 10 years, it's been garbage. And they've been relying on, play-in tracks when they do live shows, especially for Paul's voice. I hate that. That's where I kind of wish, like, dude, just play more Gene stuff. You're still playing shows. Just let Gene sing. And, like, that's kind of the big thing. Like, I've always been like, why are you guys doing this? Why are you supposed to be the biggest band in rock and roll, and you guys are doing such stupid shit? I mean, I don't make decisions. I don't have that ability. But frankly, just stop. I know you're on the final tour. Just end it. So I've changed my thought processes on Paul and Gene as a whole. There's still some things where it's like, guys, shut up. But I don't hate them as much as I used to. I will state that for a fact. Now, in terms of the whole discography, the reason why I can't rank it, there's a lot more filler than there is killer. And this is all my personal opinion. There's just some songs that after a while I'm like, skip. It's almost like a lot of it runs together. There are some highlights. Obviously, the records of the 70s had that sort of 70s style production, and it was good. But of course, there were just some records that are just like, okay, stop. Dynasty is one that I really don't like at all. The Elder, Hotter Than Hell wasn't that great. Rock and Roll Over was alright. Probably the couple records I think would have to be my favorites would be the debut record was good because it's got classic hits. Animalize, and you'll notice that my top 10, basically out of the top 10 that I have, that's number one, without even thinking about it. Asylum was really good. Revenge was probably one of my favorites for the longest time. I would say that probably Animalize, Revenge, and Asylum would be my top three records. In that order, too. Because, and of course I'll get to Revenge shortly. Psycho Circus was alright. Oh, excuse me, holy shit. Like I said, the debut was awesome. I didn't really like Dress to Kill, even though it had Rock and Roll All Night on it. I actually prefer... Here's the thing. I actually really prefer the Unplugged record. For, like, with that track listing, that's phenomenal. It's great. And it's... I didn't like the Symphony show. I thought that was dumb. But the Unplugged record, outside of Asylum and Animalize, Revenge, the debut, that I'm going to slot that in there. And yes, I know everybody's like, oh, what about Kiss Alive? Is it a classic record in the stable? Yes, but it's not one of my favorites. But then again, I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to any live stuff. I did not listen to the solo shit. I only listened to Unplugged last night because I knew I was all done. I was ready to do this, and today was going to be the day. Now, that's just my thought process. So, again, Animalize, Asylum, Revenge, the debut, and probably Unplugged. Out of the whole Kissography, that's my thought process. Now, top 10 songs. I'm going to start, and I'm just going to go from, I don't have these in any specific order, but the number one is the number one, and that's not changing. So basically the bottom of this list up. Nothing to Lose off of the debut. I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. Oh my fuck, that's like a thrash track for them almost. Trial by Fire. Great vocals. So Nothing to Lose is classic, especially on the Unplugged record. Holy shit, that's amazing. You got nothing to lose. You got nothing. And then going into right into Rock and Roll All Night on the Unplugged record was just. As I said, I've Had Enough. Total sort of thrashy track. Just Trial by Fire off of Asylum. I've Had Enough is on Animalize. Plastercaster from Love Gun. That was one of the other ones that was also on Unplugged that I really, really enjoyed. And we just also lost the woman who was Plastercaster, basically. Love It Loud on Creatures. That's classic. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Beauty track. That fucking thunderous fucking air car pounding on the kit. Beauty. Deuce from the debut. Unholy from Revenge. Domino. Fucking fight me on that one. That's probably one of my favorites that Gene sings on as a whole. And especially from the fucking Unplugged, that is just brilliant. I love Domino so fucking much. Love's a Deadly Weapon, another sort of chuggy kind of thing from Asylum, yes. And last but not least, literally the song that I've probably listened to the most since Tuesday, because it was late Monday night into yesterday. The one track from Animalize, Burn Bitch Burn. That guitar comes in, and it's just a very raucous riff. It starts and it doesn't, the whole way through the 3 minutes, and it doesn't stop. It's a fucking great track. It's my number one track. And of course, as you know, there's no Rock and Roll All Night on here. There's no 2000 Man. There's no, Rock and Roll All Night. While I do like it, I prefer the version from, again, the Unplugged record, because that's, a highlight for me, because it's the first one I ever owned. So, at the end of the day, my thought processes on them has completely changed. It's no longer do I hate the band. There's things that I don't like, and there's things that I do like, clearly. But I think at the end of the day, you kind of have to sort of sit back and think, is it as bad as I've thought over the years? And it really isn't. I did add some of the songs to my phone. I have since deleted I've deleted the whole discography, but I kept a few tracks off of a couple records. And I'm probably going to listen to Burn Bitch Burn about thousands more times this year. Sorry, it's just that good of a song. But, yeah, I think they should play it more live. So, will I buy more? If I could find the Unplugged album on either cassette again or CD or fucking vinyl, if that's even an option, that would be cool. But I don't know. I think that might be it. Maybe Revenge and Animalize, Asylum. Probably my favorites. So if I could get the debut, Animalize, Unplugged, Animalize, and Asylum on any form of media, I'll take that. I think that'd be cool, and then I would be okay with that, I think. So there you go, guys. That's my new thought process on Kiss. Probably not going to change that now. It's it's been a joy. I'm not gonna lie, it has been an absolute joy, especially with the Unplugged record, and to kind of go back and listen to that. I'm like, oh man, like every time each song would come on, it was right back to when I first heard it. I was like, yes, 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 because I used to have that and Razor's Edge, and I used to listen to them constantly as a 10-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Because the Unplugged was out in like the 90s, I think. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really I appreciate you guys watching this. And so, yeah, that's that. I'll see you later.